Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Faith, and today guys, I'll be checking out Candace Owens as she talks about CARLEE Russell, who vanished after stopping by the roadside to help a helpless toddler. And you guys, I'm super excited as always. If you're here to subscribe to this channel, please consider subscribing. Give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And if you are ready, let's see what Candace has to say in this video.
All right, guys, happy Monday. We are back in Nashville, and I'm very excited to dive into this story because I've been obsessed with it over the last 72 hours. I am talking, of course, about CARLEE Russell. Do you know who CARLEE Russell is? If you don't know who she is, you must have been under a rock for the 72 hours. And you're definitely racist if you don't know who she is. And also, if you do know who she is and you're following this story, you're also a racist. Guys, I don't make up these rules. I don't make up these internet rules. I'm victim to them all the time. But the truth is that CARLEE Russell is a woman who vanished after seeing a toddler on the side of the highway. She then reappeared at her parents' house 48 hours later. And so I guess the real question is CARLEE Russell about to be bigger than Jussie Smollet? Plus, later on in the show, we're going to be discussing a doctor who performs sex change surgeries on trans children. He admits that they face a lifetime of infertility, incontinence, and sexual dissatisfaction in a, of course, now deleted video. All that and more today coming up on Candace Owens. Where do we start? Where to begin? When I say that I'm obsessed with the story, I can't look away. I'm refreshing, looking for updates, and things are getting really weird. So let's just back this up. A woman, her full name is CARLEE Russell. She goes by CARLEE Russell, went missing. The world found out about this because of a man claiming to be her brother on TikTok. Take a listen.
My sister, CARLEE Russell, is missing. My sister was traveling on I-459 after leaving work here in Hoover, Alabama. She spotted a toddler and she stopped to render aid as any decent human being with a heart would do. She contacted 911 as she's been taught, and then she spoke with another one of our family members. My family member hears a scream, and then my sister vanishes along with that toddler. Her car and belongings were all left at the scene. We have no idea where she is. This story is not getting the national coverage that it should, and we all know why.
Yep, we all know why. Heavily implied there is it's because she's black. That's the reason that the story is not getting national attention, which of course is so foolish. There are so many stories of people that go missing, and usually unless there's some angle that makes it interesting, people don't tend to follow up on it. It's sad, but that's the truth. You know, if a crackhead goes missing or a prostitute goes missing, there's typically not as much interest because you think, okay, they were living their lifestyles in a manner where maybe they ended up dead in some way, right? But that wasn't the case with CARLEE Russell. In fact, I hadn't even seen his TikTok. I had read a small headline about the fact that she was missing, and what instantly compelled me to want to share this story and to give it as much attention as possible was the fact that there was a toddler that was included. You have a woman who's leaving work and she sees a toddler walking down a highway. She pulls over and then suddenly she's missing. It's even more horrific than that. They find her wig, her phone inside of her purse on the side of the highway. And by the way, the police had gotten there within 5 minutes of her phoning 911. And yet still, she was completely gone. So obviously, I texted my producers immediately. I said, I want to cover this story on Monday because it's terrifying. It's terrifying to think that this could actually happen to someone. And then I made sure to draw attention to it on my Twitter. I tweeted this. This is one of the more terrifying news stories I've read in a long time. I hope they find this toddler and CARLEE Russell. So that was the public sentiment. Everybody was obviously concerned about not just CARLEE Russell, but this alleged toddler that was walking down a highway in Alabama. How could you not be concerned? Everyone prayed for her safe return. And then prayers were answered. Miraculously, CARLEE Russell turned up 48 hours later at her parents' home. And of course, that yielded more questions. People wanted to know, okay, should we still be looking for a toddler? Should we be concerned? Is there a crazy person on the loose? Is this a gang? Is this a cartel? What has happened here? Bizarrely, however, public sentiment had shifted. So at first, the brother condemned you if you weren't talking about CARLEE Russell because of the color of her skin. But then you had a few people online who were saying that if you had any further questions about this story, now that CARLEE Russell was home, well, then it's because you're a racist. Here are just a couple of tweets to that effect. First up, we have Gabrielle Perry. She wrote, "From the cradle to the grave, there is no humanity for Black women. No room for mistakes, no graciousness in perfection. Immediate vilification in our errors. There is not one moment where our personhood can exist, not even in relief of it not being stolen. Hashtag CARLEE Russell. Oh my gosh, we should not be asking any questions. We're just supposed to be happy that she's alive. That's what she's implying here. It gets worse. Another person tweeted this. Please stop demanding what happened to CARLEE Russell. The appetite for trauma porn for Black people is disturbing. From images of our bloody bodies posted repeatedly following violent death to our children in great distress. Give us peace and privacy as you do Carol, Ann, and Dem. I guess they're just saying names that they think are white names there, being blatantly racist. Yeah, but that's it. If you wanted further answers, like a toddler walking down a highway and we're being told this woman was abducted at around 9:30 p.m. at night, then yeah, no, you're just into Black trauma porn. Now that she's home safe, you're supposed to just not ask any questions. Now, I want to make it clear that the majority of people did not fall for this, trying to racialize this instance. You called for national interest and attention. The story got national interest and attention. And now the national appetite would like some closure. It would like to know whether or not there is, in fact, a kidnapper on the loose. If there is somebody that is using a toddler to lure unsuspecting victims into a woods. If there is somebody who would in front of all of these cars on what is a busy highway, just grab someone out of their car and take them. That's scary stuff. Of course, there is public interest. But no, now they were trying to gaslight the public and say no further questions. I can tell you one thing that I found suspicious. The first thing is just the fact that she got allegedly dropped off at her parents' house. Yeah, that's a bit weird. I'm not going to lie. Who do you know that gets kidnapped and then after they're kidnapped for 48 hours and held against their will, the perpetrator says, hey, where would you like to get dropped off? Oh, your parents' house? I'll take you there. What's the address? Doesn't sound right. I also thought it was strange that we learned that the parents phoned the police to say that she was home. Okay. But they didn't immediately rush her to the emergency room. So that let me know that she arrived in good enough physical condition. Because obviously, if she had been raped or she was harmed, they would have instantly called the police on the way to the hospital. And of course, again, where is the toddler? Where is the toddler? We have a right to know whether or not there is a child that is still missing and potentially at risk and in danger. The mother, CARLEE Russell's mother, took to Facebook. And again, I would say the sentiments were a little different coming from the family. She wrote this. Great morning. My husband and I want to make this statement again as we did last night. It's nothing more to add or take away from how we're feeling right now. God is faithful and he has answered our prayers. We are so grateful to each of you for all the acts of kindness, generosity, and compassion that you have shown. Our baby is safe. Thank you, Father God. We do want to ask for privacy at this time to allow us to just love on our daughter and each other with our close family and friends. Also, please consider the fact that we have not slept for 3 nights and we are mentally and physically exhausted. To our media friends, I promise we will speak with you and give a general statement in the near future, as this is an ongoing investigation. We consider the media outlets that cared enough to share the story, law enforcement agencies, special investigators, city leaders to be our friends, and we will be respectful of all. For everyone that has messaged or called to rejoice with us, we are so grateful for your concern. Just as we made a commitment to not entertain negative thoughts during the time that our daughter was missing, we surely will not entertain negative thoughts or statements, unvalidated opinions, or sheer ignorance at such a joyous time. We pray that those that doubt God's power, miracles, and the power of faith will be encouraged to draw closer to him and learn the power of positive affirmations and unwavering faith. We love each of you and are eternally indebted for your support and love. Be blessed, the Russells. So she's saying a lot, but really nothing. She's basically saying it's now time for you guys to all mind your own business, and we'll give an update when we're ready because we're tired. Again, ignoring the fact that the public interest is now shifted toward this toddler who was allegedly walking down a freeway at 9:30 at night wearing just a T-shirt and a diaper, according to CARLEE Russell's 911 call shortly before she disappeared. So she calls 911. She says, I see a toddler walking down. And then she calls a relative and says, I'm going to check on the toddler. And then her relative hears a scream and CARLEE goes missing. Now that CARLEE's been found, they're saying that we shouldn't be asking further questions. And they're just not going to entertain anything else. Seems suspicious. A different update came from CARLEE's boyfriend. CARLEE's boyfriend took to Facebook. His name is Tomar Latrell Simmons. And he wrote this. I don't even know how to start off this post, but to only say thank you to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for saving my girlfriend's life. Also, thank you to everyone who shared a picture, came out to the Hoover Met to help us with the search parties, and who went and proceeded to tell other people about CARLEE to bring more awareness to her story. I have been going nonstop since I received the call that she was missing on Thursday night. I know she would have done the same for me, so I wasn't going to give up until I saw her face again. It was straight tunnel vision. Even when I would get on social media in my downtime and see some of the false allegations and assumptions about me having something to do with her abduction, it would have me discouraged at times. I didn't give up and I kept my faith. I just want to thank all of my family, friends, former teammates, and church members who called or texted me just to let me know that they're praying and here for me. You guys don't know how much that meant to me. All I ask for everyone right now is to be respectful of CARLEE's situation. She was literally fighting for her life for 48 hours. So until she's physically and mentally stable again, she is not able to give any updates or whereabouts on her kidnapper at this very moment. I also want to thank people on social media who have been understanding and respectful about what she's been through in these past few days. Once again, I can't thank you guys enough for helping us bring CARLEE home. God bless you all. Hashtag CARLEE found, hashtag CARLEE Russell. So let's just go back to that sentence that she was literally fighting for her life for 48 hours. So she's physically and mentally unstable and not willing to give any updates. Again, registers to me as odd because her parents contacted the police to say that she was home and didn't rush her to a hospital per se. But I didn't want to jump to any conclusions. I wanted to wait until the police department made a statement because family members posting on Facebook to basically say stop asking questions is not, of course, going to be the statements that are given by the police. If somebody is kidnapped, they understand that the public has a right to know that there is a kidnapper on the loose. Well, the Hoover PD did, in fact, give an update. I'm going to read you portions of it because really what they're doing is telling you what happened to CARLEE on that day. They wrote, CARLEE left work from a business at the Summit in Birmingham at approximately 8:20 p.m. She ordered food from a nearby business at the Colonnade and traveled there. We have worked to retrace all of her actions from the time that she left the Colonnade until she called 911, and we are well on our way to completing that task. At this point in the investigation, we have not been able to locate anyone with CARLEE from the time that she left the Colonnade until the 911 call was made. CARLEE communicated on her cell phone with individuals that were known to her while on her path of travel up to the point of calling 911 at 9:34 p.m. The conversation with the 911 operator ended and CARLEE called a relative. So to be clear, just a pause here, she called 911 to say that she saw a toddler, a white male toddler, that was walking down the street in a pamper and a T-shirt. And then she hung up that phone and she called a relative of hers. She went missing during that conversation with her relative sometime after 9:36 p.m. after telling both the 911 operator and the relative that she had seen a male toddler in a diaper on the side of I-459 and was stopping to check on him. Traffic camera footage was obtained, which depicted this portion of the incident, and that footage is still being analyzed as part of the investigation in conjunction with the 911 call to accurately determine the time frame. CARLEE's 911 call remains the only timely report of a child on the interstate. Now I'm going to pause here to show you the interstate because apparently there was a camera and the footage is grainy, but what you are going to see in this footage is how busy the interstate is, which is why it's weird to me, definitely strange, definitely suspect, if you will, that no one else would have phoned in seeing a toddler walking down the interstate in a diaper. Again, if you don't want to stop, it's nighttime, you might think that's a little weird, but you would at least think that one person had a moral compass enough to call 911 and say, hey, this is kind of weird. There's a toddler that is walking down the interstate at 9:30 at night. Take a look at this footage. So that car that you're seeing on the right-hand side is CARLEE's. You see she has her blinkers on, so cars are going slowly around her. You can see up ahead, there's a ton of cars on this interstate, all slowing down because CARLEE has her blinkers on. You would think that since these cars are slowing down, that they would be paying attention to the side. People rubberneck, and they would see CARLEE's vehicle. What I don't see in this footage, again, it's dark, and obviously it could very well be that she saw something that nobody else did, is a toddler walking down the interstate. You see, she's got her blinkers on, and then she comes to a full stop. Again, I just am remarking at how busy this interstate is. When I first read the story, I assumed this was like an old dirt road in Alabama. Now I realize it's a very busy interstate, and I instantly thought, how strange that no one would call 911 to report this toddler walking down the street but CARLEE. Now let's go back to the police statement. It continues, Hoover police officers arrived on the scene within 5 minutes of being dispatched, and several other officers arrived shortly behind. They located CARLEE's wig, cell phone, and purse on the roadway near her vehicle, and CARLEE's Apple Watch was in her purse. Investigators with the Crimes Against Persons Unit were notified, and the investigation immediately began in earnest with numerous leads being followed. Many local, state, and federal agencies immediately offered assistance and provided personnel and other resources to the investigation. No stone was left unturned, and the investigation continued throughout the weekend. At 10:44 p.m. on July 15th, the Hoover 911 Center received a call from CARLEE's residence that she had returned home on foot. Hoover Police and Fire responded to the residence where CARLEE was located. She was immediately transported by the Hoover Fire Department to UAB Hospital to be evaluated and was treated and released. Detectives responded to the residence and to UAB to take an initial statement from CARLEE. The details of that statement are a part of the ongoing investigation, which is expected to continue over the next few days. During the initial portion of the investigation, detectives were able to retrace nearly all of CARLEE's steps until the point that she went missing, and they are confident that will continue to be the case. The end is just they're grateful for the outpouring of support from the Hoover community and beyond, and all the assistance provided by our law enforcement partners, which are too numerous to name. Blah, 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 thanking #HooverPD. Now, the first thing that jumps at me regarding this statement, obviously, is what I pointed out to you before, which is that she was the only report. She was the only person that called in and phoned in this toddler. The second thing that jumps at me immediately about this report is what the police are not saying. The police didn't say, which I think would be the first thing that you would say to the public, is remain vigilant, ladies. There's a kidnapper on the loose. We don't have the kidnapper. We've got CARLEE. Thank goodness we've got CARLEE. But yeah, no, there's a kidnapper on the loose. Lock your doors. Make sure that you're traveling in twos. I think that would be the response of a police department that had some information or believed any part of her story that she was actually kidnapped. You have a responsibility to inform the public that they need to be aware of this. No, they didn't say that at all. The second thing that jumped on me was that CARLEE was only in the hospital for a few hours. And again, her parents didn't rush her to the hospital. They sent the fire truck and an ambulance over to transport her to evaluate her. And then she was treated and released in less than a day. And that's actually incredible. If you go to the emergency room, it's hard to be at the hospital for less than a day, but CARLEE managed to do it. So despite her boyfriend claiming that she was kidnapped and fought for her life for 48 hours, apparently when the hospital assessed her, she was in good enough mental and physical condition to have been released within 24 hours. That just jumps at me immediately. So yeah, there are a lot of lingering questions here. The story is not adding up. And lastly, and of course the biggest thing that the police officers failed to mention is the toddler. They didn't say, please be on the lookout for a white male toddler wearing a diaper and a t-shirt. You would think that if this was a missing person, an Amber Alert of some description would go out, that the police would have a sketch. They would ask CARLEE, please describe the toddler that you saw so we can release a sketch and tell the public to look out for this toddler. None of that is in the statement. Simply what they are saying is that they are going to take time to prod just CARLEE's story. So yeah, something is afoot. It's not looking good for CARLEE. It seems that her family calling for silence or asking for people not to ask any other questions is weird. I think that I would be very forthcoming and say, like, my daughter is healing, but remember that also there's a toddler out there that everyone needs to look for. It seems suddenly they have gone very hush, hush. And of course, people are going to call you racist because she's a black woman, and how dare you prod a story, just like they called you racist when there were some suspicious things about the Jussie Smollet story. If this does turn out to be some sort of a hoax in any capacity, this will be bigger than the Jussie Smollet story, because then you'll be talking about somebody who snatched their own wig, and that would just be unbelievable. Now, what I will add here is I've been paying attention to the internet and what people are reporting from that area, and there is a rumor, again, I cannot verify this in any capacity, that CARLEE actually plotted this with a 17-year-old that she was seeing on the side of her boyfriend, and that she escaped with him out of the car, but he was also in the vehicle with her, and that the story is her parents are super strict, and that her and him were together sort of on the run for 48 hours. Now, again, I don't know if this is going to be some lover's triangle, but what I am saying is that just using my brain here, it doesn't sound like there was actually a toddler that lured her off of the road. So either she had some sort of a mental break, which in my view would be the best case scenario, or she plotted this entire thing. For what reason, we don't know. But the rumors on the internet is that she was seeing a 17-year-old and she wanted to get away with him. So we are paying attention to the story. It's all I can pay attention to right now. I'm just obsessed with it falling apart. I'm obsessed with the public telling us that we're not allowed to look while it's falling apart. You know why? Because I hate liars. That's all I have to say about that. All right, guys, so for today's topic du jour, we're going to be talking about a surgeon out in Portland who performs sex change operations on children. Now, of course, because of this content, we probably can't talk about it here, so you can head over to Twitter, where we are now dropping full episodes, or, of course, you can head over to dailywire.com. Have you ever heard of data brokers? They're the middlemen who are collecting and selling all of the digital footprints that you leave online. They can stitch together detailed profiles of you, which include your browsing history, online searches, and location data. To mask my digital footprints, I use ExpressVPN. One of the easiest ways for brokers to collect data and tie it back to you is through your device's unique IP address, which also reveals information about your location. When you're connected to ExpressVPN, your IP address becomes hidden. That makes it much more difficult for data brokers to identify who you are. ExpressVPN also encrypts 100% of network traffic to keep your data safe from hackers on public Wi-Fi. That's why I have the ExpressVPN app downloaded on all of my devices, my phone, computer, and even my home Wi-Fi router. All I have to do is tap one button to turn it on, and then I'm protected. It really is that easy. So protect your data today at expressvpn.com/Candace. That's expressvpn.com/Candace to get 3 months free. Visit expressvpn.com/Candace to learn more. All right, guys, now it's time to get into some of your comments. Obviously, last week when I was in France, I had a really long discussion regarding homosexuality with Brandon Tatum. I was very pleased to have that discussion because, as I've realized just throughout my career, and as I said when I was talking to Brandon, is I have definitely become more conservative on the gay issues as time has gone by. And that is just because I am seeing some things I just thought, oh, it's about love is love. I kind of believed all of that. Obviously, I used to be left-leaning, and now I am seeing what has happened in this society since we said okay to gay marriage, and the fact that we're even talking about experimenting on children and the individuals that are behind backing this. Anyways, the first comment comes from Adriando S. YouTube. He writes, I love watching heterosexuals trying to explain our identity as if we cannot speak for ourselves. Being gay is more than just having sex or thinking about sex. There's a lot of gay males that actually do love each other. It seems like you're trying to make it more perverted because it's no other way for you to explain it. Even if I was paralyzed from the waist down, I'd still be with a man. It's very weird how anal sex is the first thing that comes to homophobic people's minds, as if there is absolutely nothing else keeping two people there. I appreciate your sentiment, but no, that was not the discussion that we had. What I have actually said to you is that when I'm in discussions with my gay friends, it's unbelievable to hear how often they talk about sex. It's just the truth. And then we talked about the reality, which is that two men can have sex constantly every single day, and there are no barriers, no natural born barriers that are preventing that. A woman being, just having a baby, a woman menstruating, these things that prevent your relationship from being centered around sex, which are built into natural order. And gay men don't have that. We talked about the gay pride parades. We talked about why gay pride has become almost synonymous with sexuality, why there are people that are now walking in dog chains. How has that become the symbol of pride? If I said, let's have a heterosexual pride parade, people would probably show up with their families and their kids. No one's going to say, let's wear leather and whips and chains and get on all fours and walk like dogs and call it pup play. You know that's true. You're listening to this and you know that that is true. That if I said, let's have a heterosexual pride parade, nobody would be simulating sex acts. Why is that? Ask yourself a very tough question about your own community. It's hard to do that, by the way. I do it every single day. When I'm assessing what's gone wrong in the Black community, right? When I talk about criminality, I talk about the culture of Black culture. I'm willing to do that. It takes a lot to become introspective and to be able to assess what has gone wrong with an attribute that you have. You say you're a homosexual, well, be an honest homosexual about what your community is bringing forth into this culture. Next comment. Alaya Awakened writes, thank you both for speaking on this. I'm a bisexual woman and I was repeatedly sexually abused by a female friend when I was 6 years old. Yes, it's possible for a girl to abuse another girl. Yes, it's possible for a 6-year-old girl to be cruel and domineering and violent and to enact perversity. God knows what happened to her to make her that way at such a young age and for it to be deeply traumatizing. My first sexual experiences were with a girl and they were non-consensual. I believe this is the reason behind my bisexuality and the reason that I attracted a lot of sexual abuse in my life. The latter wasn't my fault, but my neural pathways were literally programmed for it. I've worked hard these last 14 years to break that programming, not because I believe there's something wrong with love or freedom of choice, but I don't want to live with perversity. And as I heal, I notice that I'm dropping the masculine shield that I had built and start to long deeply to be the feminine woman I'm in a relationship with a masculine man. The feminine woman that I am in a relationship with a masculine man. There were a lot of these comments of people that were homosexual and that were coming out and saying in the comments that, yes, I was abused when I was a child. And I do believe that that first sexual experience that you have is very important, that it does establish neural pathways. And that is why there are so many, as we talked about with me and Brandon, gays and lesbian people that were abused sexually in their childhood by someone of the same sex. And that if that's your first sexual experience, that becomes, again, that neural pathway being established of this is what it means to be aroused. I'm happy that we have had the courage to have that discussion on the show and that so many gay people and lesbian people felt compelled to comment and to say, actually, I am one of those people in those statistics, because those people are silenced because there's this idea, but it's like, no, you were just born. Every single gay and lesbian person was born this way. No, some of it is trauma. Some of it is a social contagion and perhaps a very minute, as the individual I spoke about on the show suggested, very, very, very small, minute group of people are born homosexual in the same way that a very small, minute group of people are born with gender dysphoria. But the majority of it actually has been nurtured. Again, that was his suggestion, not mine, but these comments all but verify it. The next comment comes from Sebastian Targaryen the First. He writes, I was molested by my stepbrother when I was 10 years old. Sometimes I wonder if that is the reason that I'm gay. When Mr. Tatum mentioned the lust, it resonated with me. I very well could be confused. Perhaps I was not born gay. If so, how do I begin to heal? How do I begin to go down the right path? Where would I even start? I think about this every day. Thank you, Candace. P.S. I also bring this up because recently I believe I've been having natural urges to have a child. If that's what I want to be a man someone is able to look up to. Sebastian, obviously, I don't have a suggestion for you with how to deal with that, because when you're talking about dealing with sexual abuse when you're younger, there, first and foremost, is a lot of therapy that needs to happen, and there's a lot of healing that needs to happen on a spiritual level. And when you say that immediately, what happens is they say, you're recommending gay conversion therapy. No, we're recommending that anytime you deal with any sort of a trauma, if I was a woman and I was raped by a man, maybe I would never want to sleep with a man ever again. Right? I would say all men make me uncomfortable because I endured this horrific rape. And then I'd say I feel comfortable with women because, women are not going to do that sort of a thing to me. That would make me not a homosexual by birth, but a homosexual because of an experience that I had, a choice of being homosexual. But again, because we aren't allowed to have those discussions, people immediately castigate you if you start saying that maybe you can go to therapy and deal with those deep-seated traumas from your childhood. All of us are shaped by our childhood. Everybody has childhood trauma. I have childhood trauma, and it's weird that some people who have childhood trauma are being told not to explore it because the result of their childhood trauma might be that, oh yeah, okay, that's actually what kind of made you gay and desire other men or desire other women. Magdalena writes, "Hi, Candace. As always, I love this episode. Normally, I just hit the like button, but this time I decided to leave a comment as well. Even though I agree with some points made for Catholicism, I couldn't help but think about many Catholic priests that have been accused of gay pedophilia, something that never happened within the Protestant church, I believe. Any comment on this?" It absolutely has happened within the Protestant church is the first comment I'm going to make. The problem is that there's so many Protestant churches that no one ever registers pedophilia as a problem because they're like, oh, it just happened in this section of Protestantism or this section, whereas the Catholic Church is so big and domineering. And obviously, it's, the Catholic Church, the first church that people talk about it, and it's been associated with it. Not justification whatsoever. But the more important part of what you're saying is that gay pedophilia happened in the Catholic Church. So is the problem the Catholic Church, or is it the problem gay men that are in the Catholic Church that shouldn't be in the church? Because if you're a gay man, you shouldn't be a priest at all, right? And it is gay men that are abusing children. So whether you're a gay man abusing children at a school or a gay man abusing children at a Catholic church, the issue is that we have homosexual men that have invaded institutions. It's not because of, the education system. If there was a pedophilia scandal at schools, and there have been them, you don't then say, oh, education is wrong. Like when we had the Penn State issue, I can't think of the guy's name, Sandusky, I think it was. No one said, oh, the fault is the institution of education that allowed this to happen. No, you wouldn't say that. The problem is that a gay man got into a position of power and abused men, but people don't think that same way when it's the Catholic Church. The final comment, Madison writes, "This was so eye-opening. Thank you both. As a Black man who identifies as gay, this was an amazing, informative discussion. Thank you both again." I just loved reading all these comments from gay people and lesbian people that were just happy that someone was willing to have the discussion and not to make it seem like every gay person was born this way or every gay person agrees with this, because the truth is that everybody has different experiences that leads them to where they are in life. And if we don't have the courage to talk about these things for fear of being called homophobic or for fear of being called somebody who's promoting gay conversion therapy or whatever it is, then we don't get to ever potentially fix issues, and sometimes encouraging people to go further into perversion, as one of the commenters said, is not a solution. We need to acknowledge, that this society is starting with issues and then creating factors of social contagion. And you see that the most in the LGBTQ, too many letters for me to remember community. Living a healthy lifestyle can be challenging when you're always on the go. You need simple, manageable routines to make sure that you're getting the proper nutrition every day, which is why I'm a huge fan of Balance of Nature. Balance of Nature fruits and veggies capsules are a great way to make sure that you're getting essential nutritional ingredients every single day. Through Balance of Nature's advanced cold vacuum process, the vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients of the fruits and vegetables are preserved so that you can get that vital nutrition in each capsule. Balance of Nature is a whole food supplement with no additives, fillers, extracts, synthetics, pesticides, or added sugar. The only thing that's in their capsules is pure fruits and vegetables. They sent a bunch of fruit and veggie capsules to the studio for my team to try. The whole team is now feeling brighter, healthier, and more energetic. When you're disciplined enough to take care of your health, you'll reap all kinds of benefits. Make Balance of Nature fruits and veggies a part of your daily diet. Your body will thank you. For a limited time this summer, when you become a preferred customer at Balance of Nature, they'll throw in a free fruits and veggie travel set, and you'll get an additional $25 off your first order. So go to balanceofnature.com and use promo code Candace for a free travel set and $25 off your first order as a preferred customer. That's balanceofnature.com, promo code Candace. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time that we have for today. As a reminder, A Shot in the Dark is available now on Daily Wire Plus, so be sure to click the link in the description and subscribe right now, and definitely come back tomorrow for an all-new episode. Who knows, there might be an update on the CARLEE RUSSEL story. I'm obsessed.
Wow, you guys, that was such an interesting analysis from Candace Owens. Let me know what you guys think about this CARLEE RUSSEL disappearance. Do you think it was staged? And do you also agree with Candice's point of view? Because I totally agree with what Candice said. She was very blunt, very straightforward. And let's see how this unfolds. Because I believe by now there are so many controversies surrounding this disappearance of CARLEE Russell. And I believe that this her reappearance is going to pose a lot of questions here and there. Why does she expect, or her family expect, that people will not ask about the toddler or what happened to the toddler that was earlier mentioned in this video? Because it was obviously because of that toddler that she has to stop, and people are definitely gonna ask about that child. So let me know what you guys think about this whole CARLEE Russell saga that's been going on. If you guys totally enjoyed watching, give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And this is me officially signing out. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.